You're listening to Our Daily Show with CJ Nasello on RiverBender.com.
And I'll turn right back around. You can see me turning. Give me one reason to stay.
9:15. Welcome back to this Monday in downtown Alton. It feels like a Monday, you know?
I love it. I love it.
Chaplain Marc in studio. Celebrate Recovery with another great engagement and a great presentation this Wednesday. You got to be excited with all the growth that you all have been having.
I'll tell you, CJ, it's just been a God thing. I mean, every time you turn around, we connect with new people. It's been awesome.
Yeah, and now take me through this Wednesday. We were going to have Jana, but we had a little bit of a schedule change. We hope she feels better. But
Sure.
Another great presentation. Don't want to give in too much of her story because she's not here. But you know, just your passing conversations. What do you think the audience is going to get out of it on Wednesday night?
Well, it's gonna really reveal that it's truly a family that desires to reach family.
Yep.
What we've got is we've got a connection that I had with Jana's family many years ago. While Jana, by her own admission, was in active use of, and it is in a time when I was asked to pray for Jana.
Really?
And began to meet with that individual, a member of her family, and Jana crossed into some areas in her life that she needed a great deal of support. Mm-hmm. And so what happens here in this story is that Jana becomes an individual that comes out of that struggle in life because of praying family, because of concerned family, because of active family. And that's a lot of what we see in Celebrate Recovery is families wanting to bring help and support to others.
Yeah.
It's one thing for us to say, hey, I have this issue and I need some help. And it's a whole nother thing for a family member to say, hey, you have issues and you need some help. And so what we're trying to do is bring that support to both sides. And so that's where my conversations with Jana began. She just celebrated her anniversary of 14 years sobriety.
I saw that. That's just incredible.
Yes.
Just incredible. Well, and too, I don't know if you saw me over here, Chaplain Marc. My keyboard got stuck on C, and we need C for Celebrate Recovery, so I'm trying to put your name in, and I had all these C's, so I'm going, all right, I got to cut a couple of these C's down, but I got to not act like I'm being distracted here. But what I got out of this, too, is a huge conversation with the boundaries of, as a relative or a supporter of the individual going through that peril, how do you approach that without sending, the individual that's in distress further away from you and closing those doors off? I'm sure that's, one of the most challenging parts.
It is, there's a term used in recovery called enabling.
Yeah.
And we can love someone so much that we do something that is not beneficial to that individual's recovery.
Yeah.
We can attempt to fix their issue, their struggle. And so what happens many times in the family arena is, okay, so where do I go? What do I do? How do I address this? And so a lot of family are approaching Celebrate Recovery saying, from a prayerful perspective, from a relationship with God, how can I reach out to them? This individual doesn't want to hear about God. They don't want to hear about anything. They feel like they're in denial. Mm-hmm. And in our 12 steps, step one is the topic of denial. I'm fine. I'm okay. I can handle this. I don't need any help. And so it's conversation with family to help individuals see that they're not okay.
Well, and too, I mean, you've had a number of experiences with families, I'm sure of. I mean, that to me, in your position where you are, what's your role if, a family comes up to you looking for advice and you got to, I don't know, how do you handle that? Because to me, I would be so worried personally, and just some of the things that I've gone through too is, what if I give, that wrong advice? What if I actually give the advice that enables that person to keep going down this path? Because everyone takes the term enabling. It can be different for each person or each family, right?
That's exactly right. And that's why I don't give advice.
Good answer. Me either.
The advice, if you want to use that term, is to pray and to begin to understand better why individuals do what they do, which is the big thing with Celebrate Recovery. The hurts, the hang-ups, and the habits. Some individuals refer to those terms as character defects. Why individuals do what they do is really where we're going with this. An individual can say, well, I have a alcohol issue or I have this other issue. But, okay, so why? Why have you gone to that? And so that's the conversation with the family of trying to understand why this individual would be doing what they're doing and to help them see that. Yeah. Because step one is that we have admitted we believe that we're powerless. Yeah. That things are out of control. And until you get to that point, until you realize that, you're not going to change. No, and you're absolutely right. And to me, what are some of the things, too, whenever that individual's at that crossroads, it seems like the family's going, from my experiences, the family tries to sometimes, put too much, pressure on themselves sometimes to pull that individual out. But like you said, if they haven't come to that realization that, hey, it's time to make this change, you're just, hitting yourself against the wall because you're not moving it at all. That's correct. And we love. Yeah. And we want to assist. We want to encourage. We want to direct. We want to grab them and shake them and say, you need to make change, but we're not connecting. Right. We're not connecting. Well, and have you ever had a conversation with a family member that's, maybe enabled one of their relatives, their son, their daughter, not realizing, oh my goodness, I actually added on to this problem times 10. Have you ever had that conversation? Because I'm sure that's a tough one too. It is. It's very difficult. And again, I attempt not to go there. Yeah, right. It's more of, we're here because you love them. Exactly. And let's look at how we can communicate that to them without stepping over that line. Well, I think that's why Celebrate Recovery is so crucial, because there's so many components to, someone's recovery, the road to recovery, those peaks, those valleys, those distractors, all of those things that you guys provide tools. But not only that, it's just that conversation, that group of knowing, hey, we can all be together here and let it all go and realize where we're at in our lives and grow from here. It's about making choices in life. And there's a publication out that we're going to be highlighting here in the month of September on Tuesday night, starting September 12th. For 10 weeks, we're going to do a study which could very well connect us with many families, but it's called Life's Healing Choices. And it's really about making the right choices, making the right decisions. And so in that process of making choices, we find out that we're not ourselves always making the best choice. And how can we improve on that? And so when we do that, we don't go to unhealthy ways to get by, make it better, yeah. Well, and that's why, how important is it for you whenever you have speakers like Jana, like we had a couple of months ago, and like you have all the time, how important is it impactful for those speakers to come and speak with your group? It's without a doubt the key to what's going on here, because individuals need to know that there is hope. Yeah. They need to know that they don't want to hear from an individual that's never experienced that. True. I mean, why would I want to take golf lessons from someone that's never played golf?
It's a good point. Actually, that's a great point.
You know, I mean, with online information, I could maybe learn how to play golf, but if I've never played golf, how could I really help someone else? So the reality is that we have to bring in individuals that can relate. You know, they understand. Denial brings about so many things. I mean, the reality, one of the side effects of denial is anxiety. We're fearful, we're concerned, we're worried, we're unsure of. And so when we're in denial, we create a whole new list of things that we have to deal with, that they're struggling with. And so our goal is to bring individuals in that are relatable. And so every other week we bring in a new speaker. We have this Wednesday, Jana, who will come and share her story. Powerful story. And then 2 weeks after that, we've got an individual that's coming and sharing he's going to read a written testimony of the founder of Celebrate Recovery.
Wow.
John Baker, who was actually born and raised in Collinsville. Later moved to California. He was active in Alcoholics Anonymous, had an alcohol struggle in his life, and ended up out in California with Saddleback Church out there and presented something that God had placed on his heart about the 12 steps, and it was to put the scriptures back on those 12 steps. So he passed away 2 years ago, and we're going to bring one of the leaders from the Collinsville Celebrate Recovery in to actually read his testimony, to read John Baker's testimony. And then 2 weeks after that, Amanda, who is Altonian, has just a powerful story as well of her dealings with the criminal justice system and her active addiction. And so all these to help us kind of call attention to that recovery. And in a National Alcohol and Drug Addiction Awareness Month of September, we're looking to bring more resource to the family and for those that are caught up in that lifestyle.
Well, you make an excellent point. I mean, if I'm somebody, and you know, I've talked about people with this before. You know, I had my share of fun, fun at the time, but looking back on it, it was a long road to recovery. I mean, talking about a couple of years, and you can't listen to somebody like you said that goes, well, I haven't been in your shoes, but I'm going to tell you how you act. Well, that's like going to a timeshare presentation, is what I kind of equate that to. You can't connect with the speaker. And, like I said, my problems weren't nearly as bad as everyone else's, but I think that what you're doing with this is so important because it has that, walking, it's a walking testimonial, and there's nothing really more powerful than that for someone that's sitting in that chair going, she was where I was years ago. 14 years ago, she was in my chair. In 14 years, I'm going to be where she's standing and talking to a group of people and excelling. And I think that's just really important and impactful for the mission that you guys are achieving. I really do.
One of the areas that we need to make sure that we don't miss in all of this, though, is that this is not Chaplain Marc, or this is not local individuals, Jana, whatever. This is really God. And the reality is that we are all able to put on our boots and pull them up and put on our big boy pants and go out there and do some things that may help for a while, an individual, but we're looking for the real true help, and we're looking for something that's lasting. An individual truly can come out of what we see as an addictive behavior. They can see sobriety, but not recovery. They can stop drinking or whatever it is, and we think everything's fine, but yet they're still internalizing, still struggling with And as I mentioned earlier, that denial brings on inside emotions.
Yep.
And so if we're not dealing with those, we're going to miss helping them altogether.
Without a doubt, it's such a huge and important thing, because with you saying we're talking about September, what is Celebrate Recovery? I mean, you guys every week are doing something, but were you planning on doing anything more in September other than your weekly Wednesdays and weekly gatherings, or is there anything else that we need to talk about?
Well, we do have, as I mentioned briefly, the Life's Healing Choices,
Yep.
and that's a study that we're going to do on Tuesday evenings. You must be registered for that.
Okay.
And the way to do that is to call Calvary and do that. But that specific study is a combination of some testimony,
Gotcha.
some music, some video. We're going to take a publication, a book that John Baker wrote, and use that as a supplement. But the real meat, if you will, of the study is going to be dialogue. And so that is on Tuesday evenings. And we'll do that for 10 weeks. So we'll do that on into the following months. But it is important that we also mention that the 31st, just prior to the beginning of the month, we're going to celebrate and call attention to the National Suicide Prevention Awareness.
Yes.
And that was part of the conversation with Jana, is that she had a loss in her family through drug overdose. And so we want to bring about that awareness. That will be at Killian Park on this Thursday.
Wow.
And that'll be in the evening. And then we'll have on the 1st, we'll be celebrating online. I don't know how many of your listeners are actually using Facebook, but Celebrate Recovery Alton has a Facebook page. And the address actually is CR Alton CBC for Calvary Baptist Church. But I would encourage your listeners to not just check it out, but get on there and follow it or like it, whichever you prefer.
Or share it too after you get done.
Well, yeah.
You know, that's the big point. But it's huge, because to me, and I've said this before about Celebrate Recovery, is the more we talk about you guys, the better, we grow. Because whenever we have somebody that we all have somebody we know that's going through, those peaks and valleys of something. And if whether or not it's pointing them to Celebrate Recovery, if now is the time to start, looking into that, or just calling, you first and saying, hey, we're dealing with this. What do you advise? I mean, you've been around long enough in this field that you know so many people and have connected and grown this so much that you're really a tool for all of us to utilize in the area.
Well, I appreciate that. It is true that I've been able to connect families with resources. And part of that enabling conversation is not knowing where to take this, not knowing what to do with it, not knowing how. And so they grab it, well, maybe if I did this or did that, maybe if I helped them with their rent, or if I, and so they're wanting to help, not knowing how. And so many times in a dialogue with me, maybe I can give them some ideas that could be helpful. But again, it's God, not Chaplain Marc. And so what we've got to do is we've got to understand. On step 3, we made a decision to turn our wills and our lives over to the care of God. And that step has been around for a very long time. It's identical to what AA uses. The difference is, again, we've got the scripture on each step. In a secular recovery, you determine who God is and what God looks like. And we at Celebrate Recovery know who God is. He's the God of the Bible. And so we spend a lot of time encouraging individuals to seek that strength from the Lord. And so if I have a message, it's understand that we as individuals can't do this. Only God can change the heart. And when an individual has the desire to change, help them. help them see that opportunity through some scripture, through some referral over, some other information I can share with them. Yeah.
And before I let you go, not to put you on the spot with this, but I always value your perspective, and I want yours on this if it's okay. What happens if, that individual just isn't ready?
Well, you can't change them.
So
Pray.
There you go. Is that all you can do?
That's the story.
Yeah.
That's the story of Jana earlier. Well, it's not the only thing, but it's the most important thing. The other is to continue to invite and encourage that individual to make the right decision. Giving them nuggets or pieces or things that they can process. But unfortunately, when individuals are in that mode, they're not listening as well as they need to.
It's tunnel vision. It's tunnel vision. And I didn't mean to put you on the spot there, but I always feel like getting your insights on those, because I'm sure we have a listener going, well, we aren't at that point yet, so what's next?
Sure.
Well, there we go. And coming back to it, because I can't believe we've already talked for almost 30 minutes. We always just have I value your insights so much, because you truly do touch so many lives and help so many people with Celebrate Recovery. And once again, this Wednesday is August 30th or 31st?
This Wednesday is the 30th.
Okay, the 30th, and that's when Jana presents at the Red Brick Chapel at Calvary Baptist, correct?
Correct.
Awesome.
Right at the intersection of Brown and Washington. Yeah.
And then what's that address again?
1422 Washington.
Awesome.
Yes.
And then on the 31st, we're at Killian Park, correct?
We're at Killian Park, and there will be probably close to 20 booths there. We'll have some speakers that have experienced a loss for overdose. And again, the entire month is going to be filled with speakers and lessons and such. So any week is always a great week at CR Alton, that's for sure. But one of the things that we do want to, again, make a quick comment to, and that is the Life Healing Choices. If you're a family member of someone that's in need of support, or maybe there's just something going on in your life that you know that's not right, we need to not forget that the hurts and the hang-ups are things that really need to be recovered as well. I mean, if I'm struggling with the death of a loved one, I love them. And as a result of that, I'm not able to get up and get dressed and go to work. And what happens? I'm going into depression.
Yeah.
And some individuals will title that as, something that needs some other professional help. And it may as well need that. But the reality is that there are many that will turn to self-medication. You're right. To deal with those things.
You're right.
And that even begins to take us down another road. Yeah.
You're absolutely right. And that's why I'm really looking forward to all the interactions and engagements that you have planned for the 31st, the 30th, the 31st, and the entire month of September and beyond that. I mean, you guys have really grown and just kept growing, and it's because of, not only practicing what you preach, but also it's just the love and the passion that you guys put into this program. And I think that's why we all just keep coming back and growing.
Yes.
And then what's that Facebook page for more information?
It's CR Alton CBC. Celebrate Recovery Alton. CR Alton CBC.
Like, share it, and let's keep growing and helping more people and their families experience a better tomorrow. Chaplain Marc, thank you so much for stopping by today.
Thank you, CJ.
We'll take a quick break. Little Black Book, Women in Business, the Riverbend chapter. They join us next right here in the heart of the 618.